Since independence, especially the some people, they are apprehending that someday or other they will be outnumbered by outsiders. Outsider means especially the Muslims. And this theory was floating in the minds of, especially in the minds of the people who are leading the society. In 1950, just 3 years after independence, at the time our constitution was not even, it was accepted, and one bill was passed in Assam Assembly, and the then Chief Minister Gopinath Bordole, under his leadership, one act was passed, expulsion of illegal migrants. Exact name of the bill, exact name of the act I can give you later on. So that act was passed in the year 1950. And on the strength of this act, approximately 2 to 2.5 lakhs people of East Bengal origin, they were expelled from Assam in early 50s. Then again another act was passed in 1962 under the stewardship of the then Chief Minister Prasad Chalia. So this bill was passed, and that was PIP scheme. So on the strength of that act, approximately 5 to 6 lakhs people were expelled from Assam. So that was the second phase. Then the third phase started in 1979, and still till today it is continuing. Till today it is there. So one thing is very clear. I want to draw your attention that there is no doubt that Muslims in this part of the country, their number is disproportionately, it is increasing. There is no doubt of it. But my study and my practical idea about the society, I have gathered my knowledge from the grassroots levels. My idea and my knowledge leads me to believe that this population increase among Muslims, there may be two reasons. One is migration from outside, another is internal growth, natural growth. This second point is important in this region because the growth of Muslims is very, very high in this part of the country. And growth of Muslims of other parts also, it is high. If we compare the statistics for Kerala is a very literate state. Almost 100% literacy is there. In Kerala, the Muslims, their literacy rate also almost 100%. But there also, what we have noticed, that the growth rate is little bit higher than the growth rate of other group of people in Kerala also. So this may be for some social taboos or for some belief that sociologists will explain, but it is there in UP, in Bihar, in Maharashtra, in Gujarat, in Karnataka. Wherever we compare, we will find the growth rate of Muslims is little bit higher than the growth rate of Hindus or other religious groups. In Assam, my study says that I compared the data supplied by different census. The census data 1971, census data 1991, 2001, 2011. There I have seen that in Muslim concentrated areas, number of birth is very, very high. I compared some revenue circles where people are usually concentrated, homogeneous group are living. There are few revenue circles in Assam, I can cite you. One is Kalgasia, another is Bagbor, another is Mankasar, then South Salmara. These are revenue circles. And in these revenue circles, in different censuses, they collected data on the basis of age groups, 0 to 4 years, 5 years to 9 years, then 10 years to 14 years. In this way, in different groups. There we have seen that number of children, that is children below age group 6, 0 to 6. What is the percentage? In Mankasar, in South Salmara, where more than 95% people are Muslims. In that revenue circle, number of children below 6 years, it is approximately 24%. It is 23.9 something, so it is 24%. It means out of every 4 citizen in the revenue circle, one is a small child below 6 years. It means the growth rate among Muslims is very high because 95%, more than 95% people are Muslims. Again, take another revenue circle, Patsala, Bozali. So Bozali revenue circle, their percentage of Muslims is only 4.5. 95.45% people are either Hindu or some tribal people are there. They are having different religion. So 95% are non-Muslims. Only 4.5% Muslims. In that revenue circle, out of every 100, in that particular census, same census, in that revenue circle, only 9.8 members are of below age 6. That is, number of children is much less than the number of children in South Salmara. In this way, if you consider other revenue circles where Muslims are very, very in high numbers, that is 80%, 85% in this way, you will find the number of children either 20, 21, 22 or 19. So it means number of children are very large in Muslim society. In other words, we can say that their growth rate is high. Simple number, so nobody can deny it. So this is the main reason. Second reason is child marriage. A Muslim girl, usually uneducated girl, usually she is married at the age of 13, 14. Just on the verge of attaining puberty, or maybe some who didn't attain puberty, she gets married. So a girl married at the age of 14, she is exposed to get motherhood at the age of 15 or 15 and a half years or 16 years. So if a girl becomes mother at the age of 15, then after 1 year or 2 years, if she gets another child, so these children, after attaining age 15, they will get married. They will be married. So by that time, this first girl, she will become a grandmother at the age of 30-31. This point to be very minutely we should follow this. So a girl become grandmother at the age of 30-31. When an educated girl, highly educated girl, even a graduate girl, she is married at the age of 24, 25 or 20, and she will not like to have baby just after her marriage. So she will have some opinion. After 2-3 years, she may have her first child. So when an educated girl becomes mother, an uneducated Muslim girl becomes grandmother. So this is the reason why, if you consider the total number of generations after independence, here if there are only 3 generations from majority community, from educated Hindu community, there are 4 or 4.5 generations among Muslims. So please imagine how many, what would be the number, what is the, if I say that the population of Muslims are increasing in geometrical proportion, just to get you an idea, this is not the right thing I should say, but if the population of Muslims is increasing geometrical proportion, population of Hindus are increasing in arithmetic proportion. 1, 2, then 3, then 4. Here it is 1, 2, 4, 8 in this way. Because their number of generation is much higher than the number of generation among Hindu community. This is one of the reasons, early marriage of Muslim girls. There are so many reasons for this also. Actually, Muslims are not getting jobs. Even educated Muslims are not getting jobs. It is a very pathetic or very heartrending part of the story. Government will say that proportion of Muslim employment here it is 11%. In Sasar Committee report, it was mentioned that it is 11.5%. Sorry, 11.6% in Assam, probably the highest in India. But the fact is not that. Fact is not that. I can assure you, the fact is the Muslim percentage is less than 4%. I am saying this with full confidence because I have conducted survey. I am a man from statistics and I know how to collect data, and I just collected information from few very important major departments in Assam. I get the full list, then I divide this according to their linguistic position, according to their religious identity. And there I have seen that number of Muslims in different jobs, different categories of jobs, is 3 point something or a maximum 4%. So it is not more than 4%. Another very important point I want to share with you, that is, question is, today before you are coming here, I was just going through one article written by one professor from Guwahati University, Dr. Nanigopal Mahanta. He wrote an article, today's paper, and there he is trying to justify his argument, his points. So he said in his article, that number of Muslims are increasing by leaps and bounds, and number of Hindus are, proportion of Hindus are gradually decreasing. It is quite natural. If one group, if we divide the whole population into two parts, if one increases, proportion of one increases, proportion of other will decrease. But the question is, why proportion of one group is decreasing, why proportion of other group is increasing? We have to ponder this. The point I discussed with you, that in any government jobs, right from peon, chowkidar to very high officials, the representation of Muslim is very few, very meager. And we know, every one of us know, that our middle class or what middle class mentality develops along with our income, along with our social status, along with our say dignity of say labor. So even one office peon, he will not like to have more children because of so many reasons. An office peon will always see that his boss, maybe an officer, IS officer, IPS officer, or state level officer, well-educated person, he is having less children. So necessarily his ideas and his standard of living he will always observe, and he will definitely for this reason or that reason he will come to a conclusion that I should also have minimum children so that I can give education to my children, I can bring up them with a minimum standard. And necessarily this status, the moment he achieved a peon's service or a chowkidar service, so necessarily his mindset will also gradually change. This is not happening in the case of Muslims. If you go, the Muslims, I will not say that Muslims are economically starving. No, they are not starving because they are very hard-working people. If you visit the rural areas, you will find that the area inhabited by these people, it is the granary of Assam. It is the granary of Assam. Different kind of agricultural products, they are accustomed to it for all this. So they are not starving, but at the same time they are not so much advanced economically also. So these are the reasons, and especially this is not my version. Definitely, you have gone through the book written by one RSS ideologue. Recently, the book was published in Delhi. My memory always fails to recollect the names, etc., etc. I can give you. I wrote the name of the book in my book also. So he also, that from the beginning of 1979 Assam movement, RSS was very much active here. And our former Prime Minister Vajpayee ji, then Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, and other RSS ideologues, they frequented Assam many times. I was a young teacher at the time in 1979 in Guwahati University. So we had gone through their speeches, their observations, and how they encourage this movement. So RSS is very much there in this movement. And their target is only Muslims, because this government, Modi government, only the other day they introduced one bill to amend our constitution on the basis of religion, which violates the basic or core of our secularism. It hits our secularism. But they have already introduced it. So they are not against Hindu migrants, they are against Muslims. But I can tell you that after the amendment of this Citizenship Act, after the addition of 6A, that is taking 1971 24th March as cutoff day, I can tell you that if one is true to his salt, if one judiciously investigate everything, judge everything, there may be some, yes, we are having common border, there may be some migration this way or that way, but it is not 6 figures. It cannot be in lakhs. It may be in thousand, it may be in hundreds. That is my estimate. And question is, I myself, in a TV program long 8-9 years back, I myself proposed that let us have a public committee. Let us constitute a public committee under the leadership of, under the supervision of retired Supreme Court judges, 1 or 2 judges. Let them conduct it, and all stakeholders should have representation in that committee. And let us take 10 constituencies in Assam, any 10 constituencies, where the agitators believe that maximum number of foreigners infiltrated. Take 10 constituencies, and from these 10 constituencies, again let them take from each constituency 10 polling booths. Each polling booth will have approximately average 1,000 voters. So there will be 1 lakh voters. And let us examine, out of this 1 lakh, how many are foreigners? How many are infiltrators? If it is 50%, yes, people will have to agree that it is 50%. If it is 10%, it is 10%. If it is 5%, or if it is below 2%, 1%, we will have to believe it. If we are to believe 50%. I didn't find any stakeholder there. The Honorable Professor who wrote today's article, he was also in the panel on that day. Only Human Borgohain, if you have time, you may also visit him. I don't know whether you have his name in your itinerary. So, to me, it is sheer and political issue. This social issue is made a political issue for political supremacy. And only day before yesterday, I met one journalist from Delhi. He came here, and suddenly I came across with him. He is also from Kerala. And he discussed this problem also with me. And then his opinion is that it is a systematic attack on a particular group only because of their religious belief. So I also feel that it is a systematic attack on a particular group. But at the same time, we must also respect this this apprehension of the majority community, because nobody will like to become minority and to be guided or to be administered by a group which was a minority on the other day. So everybody will, in a political system, especially in democracy, everybody will try to be in a majority group. So this apprehension can be curbed only through some scientific steps adopted by the government. But governments for last 70 years of different parties, of any color, they are doing all this dirty political game. Nothing more than that. Dirty political game, just to get there. So, had the literacy rate of this group of people, had the government tried to increase the literacy rate, that is to give education to these people, perhaps today the Muslim population of Assam would have been lesser by more than 20 lakhs, if not more.